Hey guys, we're live, and today we're doing part two of Escape from LA. And I apologize for any background noise. I'm in a hotel, and it was impossible to find a place without a speaker. But, anyways, so today we're discussing the bug out bag. And I know this is widely talked about on social media, but what we're going to discuss is the bug out bag that we're going to choose in relation to part one, which is you're in mid city Los Angeles and EMP has hit, and now you're moving north to that lake. And if you want to see more about that video, refer to our last video we just did a week ago. So, and I'll link it below. Now, in the bug out bag, we're going to talk about form, function, and quality. It's three things you clued me into, Mario, a long time ago. So let's start out with um, the bug out bag. What would you choose in terms of bag, an actual
Yeah,
bag?
I kind of just want a duffel bag. I don't actually want like a high-end rucksack. I love Mystery Ranch. That's out of I think Bozeman, Montana. That's a great ruck. You can make a long movement up in the backcountry in the wilderness with a Mystery Ranch, but hiking through LA, I kind of just want a duffel bag, like a hockey bag.
So let me share that screen with you because I have it right here. The Mystery Ranch. Here's a pack I found. Can you see that? Did it come up?
The Metcalf, great. That's a great ruck right there. That's a great rake. It looks a little fancy.
So let's talk about this for a second because
So I've worn that exact ruck that you got up on the screen there. I was in United Arab Emirates training some Emiratis from the Presidential Guard Reconnaissance Unit, and they bought a couple hundred of those, and they gave us those rucks, and that's the ruck I wore when I was in UAE. Great ruck.
so looking at that ruck, like I've worn a lot of Ospreys. I have a bunch of Osprey packs, which are real lightweight. This thing comes in at from looking at it comes in about 4.5 pounds.
It's a
So it
little
looks like it's
heavy. Yeah,
heavier.
that's the downfall of Mystery Ranch is that people say like a Kuyu is that ultra lightweight hunting pack. I think it's out of Sacramento. It's out of the Bay Area. Kuyu is a great ruck, but um, if my the one ruck to last the rest of my life, that's it right there.
Actually, that's the one I would go with. I would say because you don't know. Let's say we're going from to refresh people's minds. You're in LA. You're on the 10. There's a grid down scenario, and we discussed you're going to move north to Griffith Park to this reservoir there. And now that's just one day. But what if you're going for a month? What if you're looking around, looking for shelter, looking for a safe environment for your family? Well, I think this is the best pack, and here's why. Because I've done a ton of backpacking. Mario's done a ton of rucking in the military. I've only done the basics or rucking in the military, which is in boot camp and then the basic school. But Mario's a trained infantry officer, so he's done it way more than me. But I have a lot of backpacking experience. I used to be a wilderness counselor, so I know a lot about packs. And one thing that I think is great about this pack, even though it's heavier, the reason it's heavier, guys, is because if you look at it, look at the material. You can tell it's a heavy duty Cordura. It looks like material versus when you get into like the Osprey packs, they're designed for lightweight. So some areas will be like Cordura lightweight, but some areas will be mesh designed to sort of flex. And that's the difference. So one's designed for like a tactical approach. This one, it's designed for hunting, and I like hunting packs because here's a perfect example. If you're walking along your Osprey and a branch hits it, it could rip the side of it. But this pack, it's not getting ripped. So if
Plus,
you're thinking a
this pack
long-term
can
op, I think this is the best in an immersion scenario. I would go heavier instead of lighter. Now
yeah
people
this
might
this
argue,
pack can
yeah,
hold this pack can hold over 100 pounds in it, and you can hike it out. Not recommending you put 100 pounds in your back and try to ruck 12 miles out of the backcountry, but it's capable of doing that and not falling apart.
yeah. So Mar, you seem like you're freezing up a bit, but are you still there? You still there with us, Mario? You
Yeah,
got it. Okay,
I got
good.
you.
You got me. Okay. So now when you're packing on this pack, you don't have to put 100. This pack basically, if you just say have 50 pounds in it, the top will just look kind of like compacted in, and the bottom will be heavy. So what I'm thinking is that you look at this sort of like a storage unit for a long-term op because the grid just went down. You're moving north, and maybe you only have 40 pounds in it, so it's not going to look like this all packed out. It's going to
No,
look
it can
like
collapse down. It can
maybe way at the bottom. What's that? Go ahead.
it can
Go ahead.
significantly collapse down. That backpack can shrink down significantly.
Yeah, exactly. So another few things to think about in this pack is when you look at it, we're looking at it right now. They have good straps. They got a good hip belt. It looks comfortable, and it looks like it can take a beating, as we discussed. Also on this, you have these waterproof zippers. You can tell that they're this like plastic material that when the zipper comes together, it waterproofs the zippers. This is a lot of things to think about because if you don't have a waterproof pack, another way around it is you take a trash bag. I mean, it's just old school. You put your stuff in the trash bag and you just roll it up at the top. That's an old school way to waterproof. But the
Or you can
problem is
throw a rain cover.
go ahead.
You can throw a rain cover around almost any pack. You go to REI or you get on eBay, some outdoor stores. You can find rain covers that kind of just slip over the pack and provide an extra layer of protection on your gear.
Yeah. So now
What
in like
let me also say what I like even better than that is to get dry bags. So go to REI or like an outdoor store that sells like river dry bags. So they roll up and they clip together. Those are excellent. So you pack different pieces of gear into dry bags and then throw those into your ruck. So the water protection is around the items you're trying to protect, like optics, ammunition, food, etc.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's a great idea. The only thing you want to think about though is when you have a dry bag, there's like really lightweight ones that are made. I forget the name of the company. Outdoor Research makes a
Yep.
lightweight one.
Yep.
But if you're doing a heavier dry bag, they're going to be heavier. So I think these are all good approaches. I think, in my opinion, the best approach is let the bag do the waterproofing for you because here's why. If you have a trash bag on the inside, I've done this before, it can rip. If you're pulling things out, if you have a rain cover on the outside, you could fall off. Here's why. If you're just normally backpacking, then a rain cover is pretty solid. But what happens if you're running from like an enemy force? I mean, we're talking about a grid down scenario, and you got to get out of here. What happens if you got the rain cover off your pack? It's on the side. You sit down with your family to eat something. All of a sudden, you hear some rustling, and someone's tracking you. You just take off, and you forget the. So I think having in this scenario having everything that sort of attached to the pack, you don't have to add on to it, provides a better operational setup than adding these other things that you would normally add in, like, say, a camping environment, because you may have to just run out of there. And then, oh shit!
If
My
you
rain
look at some of the other
cover's gone.
pictures,
Yeah, yeah,
if you
yeah.
look
Let
at some
me
of the
let
other
me get to those
pictures,
other
there's like a
pictures.
shelf. There's a shelf system in
Which one?
this. If you look down on some of the pictures,
Let me
it'll
get to
show that
that.
there's
That
like
picture.
a
Which one?
shelf
Which picture?
system.
A shelf system. What do you mean a shelf system?
So this pack detaches from the frame, and you can
Oh, you're talking
pack
about.
different items in the frame. So between the frame and the pack is this like shelf system on the
Oh,
Mystery Ranch
interesting.
Metcalf, and you can pack different things. So you could have those dry bags in your
Let me see
pack.
that. So if I come here, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna share the entire screen. So let me present this. Share screen. Um, Share screen. Let me see. Let me share the entire screen. Share. That's easier. Okay. So you can see it now. Can you see the? Oh, it jammed me out, man. I can't share the entire screen. You gotta be kidding me. Let me go back. Okay. So share screen. Excuse me, guys. We're having a little technical difficulties. Um, Entire screen. Let's go. Nope, it's not letting me do it. All right. So I'm gonna come by. I'm gonna select which one did you want to see on there? You want to see
Just want to explain that
photo?
that pack. Just want to explain that that pack can expand and collapse. And when you expand it, there's like a shelf system at the bottom of the pack that allows you to stack other items in between the frame and the ruck.
Oh, interesting. Let me see. I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna share this screen right here, and then we'll look at it. So here we go. Present, share screen. We're gonna call Mystery Ranch. So this is the only one I could get. They didn't have an inside shot. How's that? So you're saying
Yeah,
that
that
unzips on the
separates
side?
exactly. Yeah, and the side between the ruck frame and the ruck, there's a collapsible shelf in there that actually expands out, and you can stack other items in there. That's basically for elk hunting or mule deer hunting or deer hunting in the backcountry. But what really that was designed for hunters, and here's how some of the military special operations communities can go out and make direct purchases of items, and that is not it was not designed for the military, but it works so well because you can stack battery items in between the frame and the ruck, and the military just adopted that ruck because it works so well. And it started out in some of the more small elite units in the military, specifically the Marine Corps, and then it matriculated to other forces, and that's where I got to use that ruck overseas. And it was the best ruck I've ever used. Not taking anything away from other rucks out there. There's probably other companies that are copying that, but making a lighter ruck. And for normal use, maybe you would steer towards a lighter ruck, but that one could take a lot. It's meant to be beat up and survive.
This is really important because I haven't backpacked before. They don't realize if you have a pack and everything from the top goes in. Can you hear that in the background, Mara? That
Yeah, you're all right. You're all right.
there's a cappuccino machine going. Oh my gosh, man. We're dealing with some comm issues today, guys. Which it's one of the buckets which I'll pull up on the screen here soon. But when you have comm issues, if you can hear us going in and out, it's a perfect example. It's extremely challenging situation if you deal with comm issues. But anyways, the pack. If you have to load a pack from the top down, you have to dig into the pack with your hands to get everything out. What Mario's saying is you can access this pack. I didn't realize that. That's actually super important because remember, we're talking about an emergent situation. You may put your pack down to get something to drink or pull something out, and all of a sudden there's a threat coming at you quick. And you don't want to have to dig and throw everything back in. You just want to be able to zip that up, throw it in, and go. And my guess is that's designed for hunting where you may be, I'm not a hunter like you, Mario, but you may be out in the bush, you may get something to eat, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, there's movement over there. We got to go now. Bam, throw it in, and then we're out off the target.
There's a
So this
mid-sized
pack
Pelican
meets
case.
a lot of the requirements, I would say, for a bug out bag.
There's like a mid-sized Pelican case that actually fits really well in between the. It's heavy, but it's for optics and batteries and ammunition and etc. That you can fit in between communication equipment. You can fit between the ruck and the frame. And I've seen guys in training environments actually throw a Pelican case in between the ruck and the frame and be able to hike it. So getting that weight, the heaviest weight closest to the body, and then having like your sleeping system and your clothing systems on the outside of the bag or in the bag furthest away from the body. So that bag is incredible. That's the one to get if you're looking for a new rucksack. It's extremely comfortable. The waistband, the shoulder straps, you can hike a lot of weight on that rucksack. The only downfall is it's almost 5 pounds and it looks fancy. People know it's if you know, you know that's a fancy pack.
I mean, you could rough it up a little bit. I mean, you wouldn't want to take sandpaper to it because you'll take off the waterproofing. But you could maybe, well, no, you don't want to because here's why. Anytime with this waterproof material, you put dirt on it, you reduce the waterproofing because these materials are designed to be waterproof, basically waterproof one way and breathe the other way. So if you compromise that by like scraping it or trying to get it dirty, you're gonna mess with the pack. So I think what we said before, if you can get this pack and let's say you're in LA, things go down, you grab the pack, you grab your family. I humbled it for a little bit till I find a shopping cart, throw in a shopping cart, find some trash bags, throw it on top, and just keep pushing the shopping cart. But once you get into the woods, this thing like once we said you're up in the Griffith Park and you're up in this water reservoir, this thing is pretty powerful. And I think the majority of the time you're going to be using this pack is going to be when there's not a lot of people around because after the first few days of a grid down snare, most people, I hate to say it, but they're going to die off. And then it's just going to be about long movements to wherever you're getting security, shelter, all that stuff. So what one thing I would put in this pack, the main thing would be a water filter.
Absolutely. Yeah, life straw. So the right now in the hunting community, which is really popular, is the life straw. I think that's actually the name brand of it. And it's literally something it's literally like it looks like a straw, like a very commercial quality straw that you can suck water out of like a puddle, and it filters the water and creates, drinkable water. And it's super lightweight, small. Another good one is the MSR.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna pull it up right now. Let me show this to you. I have the MSR loaded up. Let me pull it
and
up.
that's the one we use. That's the one I have. I've used that a lot. It works fine. It's a little bit more bulky than the Life Straw. They also make um, a filtration, or I guess it's not even really a filtration, but it's a light source that purifies water. So it has some sort of UV light that kills off any parasites that are in your drinking water. And then a lot of times I've drank water just in small quantities, like a handful or a cupful. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's a newer design, but yeah, the MSR water filter right there. That's a great one.
This thing will filter like 1,000 gallons or 2,000 gallons. I forget, but the reason why we're talking about why we jump. So we have the pack, which is number one because you're going to be carrying something, right? And you have a hip strap, you have shoulder straps, so you can move, movement to contact. That's number one. So you can carry. You need something that's comfortable, right? Mario said duffel bag in the beginning. Duffel bag, once you have to put on your back, you're screwed. I mean, it'll get you from point A to B. Maybe put your backpack in the duffel bag, and then you're going from point A to B. But the pack is essential. And then the most important thing is water filtration. If you don't have all the other things, food, everything else, that's fine because you can figure that out. But as long as you have a pack, or even if you don't have a pack, that right there is your most important thing, because that's what's going to kill you first. Is going to be everyone gets all wrapped around the action on these bug out bags, but if you don't have that right there,
Right.
and the
So
reason why I picked that is because that's got like 2,000 gallons. You want something that's got a filter that can filter out anything, because and it's $400. It's worth every penny. That thing will become extremely valuable, and I mean extremely valuable in a grid down scenario.
so
So
I went into the backcountry up by Mammoth Lakes. It was 36 miles over 12 days, deer hunting, mule deer hunting, and I did not have my um, water filtration. I had a jet boil, and I was boiling water at night to make soup and to drink like a tea. But sometimes I just didn't feel like, again, not recommended, but here's the protocol to use. If you're going to drink water out of a stream, drink a small quantity. I'm talking about like a handful of water, like a little half a cup of water, and then move to another stream, or move. Don't just sit there and drink a gallon of water in one spot. And what you're doing is you're reducing the risk of consuming a bunch of bad water by only a handful, like a cup of water. And I learned that from a fly fisherman. He said, I've drank a little bit of water out of every stream I've ever fished out of. And I think it built his gut health, and he was able to um, deal with probably more than the average person when it came to probably ingesting a few little bugs and micronutrients and not having violent diarrhea.
yeah, and here's the key: not all areas of the stream are created equal, because if you do not want to pull what Mario's talking about, that little cup of water from a stagnant point of that stream, because that's where all that stuff gathers. You want to go find a little waterfall in the stream to move the fastest movement in the stream possible. You want to go to that area because that's where the
Again,
cleanest
filter your
water.
water.
Yeah,
Ideally, you're going to filter your water, but things go south sometimes,
but if
and you
but
don't have that option.
but eventually, if you want to filter your water too, or do what Mario said, you want to pull it from the movement in the stream, the fastest part of the stream, because that's where the water's going to be clearest. If you try and pull your water with this filter from like a really dirty area, you're going to be reducing the life of that filter. So you want to
That's
get to
right.
an area where the water is clear, where it's moving. Just visually look at the water.
Another
Don't pull
protocol
from.
is
Yeah,
to walk up a mile up the stream and then back down and look for any dead animals that might be laying in the stream. So, okay, I don't have a water filter. I'm gonna drink a little bit out of this stream. Before I do that, I can walk upstream for a mile, checking out if anything's fallen in there, if any animals are dead or deceased in the stream, and then turn around, cross the stream, walk back to that point you started at, and then drink a little bit of water out of that point, and then move on.
And also think, in an emergent situation, you may not be able to walk a mile. We're talking like we're kind of giving you knowledge from camping, hiking, outdoor survival, hunting. But if you're in an emergent situation where you can't walk a mile up and down, this thing, which can filter out of any source, is going to be. See, we want to think in your bug out bag. You want to think about things that reduce your time. We're giving you extra tips if you have more time, but anything that reduces your time, like a bag that's got the waterproofing already in it, you don't have to waterproof. It reduces your time. It reduces um, your what it would be. It reduces your workload. We want to think about things that are compact, reduce a bag. Okay, it's a little heavier, but it's more durable. It's not going to rip. It's waterproof. It's gray, so it looks okay. It blends in to an extent, and then this water filter is amazing. But you could lose this water filter. I mean, you could fall out of your bag. You could. That's another thing we'll talk about. Every time you take off on a movement, you got to make sure your bag's secure. Where are you putting this water filter on your bag? We can talk about that in another video. It's a little bit too in depth to go into this video, but the key is a bag now. We have a bag we've talked about. Now I have a water filter. And I know this seems kind of boring. We're going into detail on this, but it's essential that you understand the basics. Something to carry it with that's durable, that works well, that you can grab quickly and move quickly. Things are organized. You don't have to mess around with rain ponchos over it or bags on the inside that could rip. It's waterproof. And now you have step 2, which is the most important. You have a good quality water filter. This one, the Life Straw, have multiples. Now I also want to talk about now once you're filtering that water, where are you putting it? Because people don't think about this. Like, oh, I got a water filter. You're just going to suck into your mouth? No, you may not have time. You need to store the water somewhere. So one thing that I recommend is Osprey water bladders, because they're built well, and you can get bladders that are just straight up water bladders, but you have to fill them into something. Osprey water bladder's got like a camelback attachment, so you could fill it up real quick, throw it in your pack, have a few of them, and then just pull the strap out as you're walking and suck off of it. Versus having to stop, put it down, pull out a bottle. These are things to think about that people don't think about. So let me pull that one up real quick. If I stop that, if I come in, let me share the screen. Share screen. I'm going to come up here. Osprey right here. So these guys. Can you see that? That's, I don't know. Mario's probably has some
Yeah.
different.
No, that's. I mean, I've used a similar one. It's called a platypus, but yeah, that's a good.
Platypus is great. I have a bunch of those, and I have only the water. I only have the platypus reservoirs. But I thought about that for a second. If you're moving, the platypus reservoir is great. But what if you have to stop and pull it out, and you're trying to drink from it, and the reservoir moves, so it's going everywhere. But we're thinking like efficiency of movement. So we've got the bag, we've got the filter, we've stopped at the running water, we've grabbed the water out, and we're putting it in maybe 2 or 3 of these things. Like, at the end of the day, if you want to pull, if you don't have any other option, I would literally put your pack full of water filters and reservoirs, and then figure out the rest. If that's all
You
we
could,
had.
those would be negotiating chips. I mean, if you just
Yes.
had water filters and platypus or Osprey reservoirs, you literally have the most important thing in any grid down situation is clean water. You'll figure out the food, you'll figure out the shelter, you'll figure out the clothing, you'll figure out the energy, you'll figure out the security. If you literally could just control the water in a situation, or not control it, but if you had the water figured out in your life during a time of panic and you had excess resources dealing with clean water, you could figure out the rest from there. Absolutely, 100%. That's the to spend the money. Where do you spend the money first? Is you get a good ruck that you can carry for long distances, and you train with it. You put it on. You suffer with it a couple times a month. You get the water filtration, and a place to store clean water, and from there you add to that. That's the base of this plan: is a good ruck and clean water.
Exactly. I mean, couldn't have said it better. Really well said. Because I'm gonna pull up right now. I'm gonna do another screen share, but I'm gonna pull up. Remember, I promised you guys last time was create a bucket map, which I did. So you'll like this, Mario. Let me pull this up. my screen share. And guys, we're just getting started in sort of this whole process of sharing the screen. So as we go along every video, the screen share is going to get better. We're going to have it more organized. So we're just getting started. So we appreciate the 3 guys that or gals that subscribed to our channel. We thank you for that. It means a lot to us because we know how hard it is to get subscribers. So we love to have you along for the ride. So let me share this right here, which is, let me see if I can get this up here. I want to share the whole. Well, you know what, Mario? Actually, let's talk. If you could talk while I work on this, could you talk about security? What would you do for security? I'm going to work on pulling up this bucket map. If you want to talk about,
So
how
you
do
want
you
to
think about security? Yep, go ahead.
you want to start building some proficiencies with basic self-defense. So that might be, for some people, that might be jiu-jitsu in the evening after work. It might be 3 times a week you're working on advancing in the belt system in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. For others, it might be a baton, a knife, a fixed blade knife, or a baton is a weapon system that you can become proficient with. That's not very complicated. It's pretty easy to start learning some basic techniques with a fixed blade knife or a baton, and then the advanced stuff is you want to start taking some courses in fighting pistol and fighting rifle. You can find these from tons of guys now on the internet. There's all sorts of resources. If you live in Tennessee, if you live in Kentucky, if you live down south, up in the Midwest, out on the West Coast, like Warner and I, there are excellent opportunities to get world-class training now in fighting pistol and fighting rifle. What you don't want to do is be a hobbyist and buy a 1911 and take it to the range once and think that you're proficient in using that weapon system in a highly chaotic and intense environment, untrained, and not knowing even how to use the platform or when to use it, or what are the right techniques, how to implement this weapon system. That's the wrong approach. So if you have to go simple, stay in that realm of jiu-jitsu, baton, and fixed knife. If you're gonna move into that kinetic range of a pistol or a rifle, get training. Go spend the money on training. Train.
Yeah, Mario, still going?
Over to you, Warner.
Mario,
Warner,
still
did I
there?
lose you?
You went out for
Yeah.
a second. I think our
Can you
internet's
hear
just
me?
going in and out, guys. We apologize. So let me share the screen real quick. I think I get it right here. Oh yeah, this is it. I got it. So can you see it? I just had to pull it up in my Canva. This is how I edited these things, guys. So if you can see it, don't disregard all. This is just editing software, but you can see the tactile offset bucket map. You have your food and your water. You have what Mario just talked about, which is security. I kind of map security and mobility together because it's kind of like that shoot, move, communicate. And then you have your shelter, clothing, equipment, comms. You have intel, the information you're getting possibly from your comms, or intel you're getting from observation. Then you have your energy and your community. Did I miss any on this, Mario?
Energy.
Energy is
I
down
got you.
there on the
Okay.
look.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yep. So food,
So
water, shelter. Yep. The food, water, and
shelter, I got
shelter
shelter is
are
up
going to be your
there in the
first
center.
basic. Then we're going to talk
Say it one more time.
security.
Security, yep.
Food, water, shelter, security, energy. That's how I kind of think of it, as the basics first, and then we're going to build off that by providing security and energy.
Yeah, so that's a great way to think about it. So I think we're nearing the end of this op today, guys. So I think we're going to do a part 3 on this gear because we didn't get through all, because it's just there's so much to talk about. But any final thoughts, Mario?
Yeah, just if you want to reach out to us and set up a consulting or coaching call, hit us up on LinkedIn. Warren and I are available to walk through things in more detail and talk through situations that we probably can't talk on this channel. So go ahead and reach out to us. We'll put our
Yeah,
descriptions.
you can reach out to us. Our links are on LinkedIn. The best way to do it is just on LinkedIn, message us. As I said, I'm still working on it, but I'll get a form or you can drop it. But how we'll run the calls is it'll be kind of interesting. It'll be me and Mario on the call at the same time, looking at different angles because I'm an ex Marine Corps pilot. I have a lot of experience now in the real estate construction industry, so I know how to build stuff. Former wilderness counselor. Mario is infantry officer with, currently getting out, but he's got tons of deployments, tons of experiences, been through tons of shoot packages, all sorts of stuff that all the soft SOF guys go through, special operations. A wealth of knowledge from both of us from different angles. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. We'll both jump on the call and sort of pick apart what you're trying to do and sort of help you get set up, because it's really important to what we've learned in the military. People don't realize this, but the majority of what you do in the military is scenario driven. What we're doing right now, it's like 90% of scenario driven. So when you hit that 10% of operational time, and that's what people don't get. It's not just like you're actually not training most of the time. You're running through scenarios most of the time, and then you're training. That's how the military works. That's how, as a pilot, I'd fly 2 hours and I'd prep for 10 to 15. It's like, it sucked, but I learned the value of that. So we appreciate you guys. We invite you to like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you would bring in your bag. Is there any filters you like? It's a community. We want your feedback. So thank you for your time, and we'll talk to you on the next one. The next one's going to be, we're going to continue part 3. We're going to continue more with this gear layout. We only got to the pack, the water. We'll go more in depth on types of rifles you could bring with you, and we'll also talk about clothing on the next one. And then after that, we are going to walk through another episode of, what if you don't have a bug out bag? What do you do? How do you operate? That's really interesting. Say you're just in your car, boom, it goes off. You don't have anything but your shoes and the clothes on your body. How do you operate? Okay, thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you soon.